Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
Oh,
Good morning, Robert.
good morning, Dave. You know, it's 6 o'clock in the morning stuff is kind of early.
It's good for you.
I hope you got a big old cup of coffee because I sure do.
Well, you know, our ticker there says get up, pray up, and coffee up.
Oh, my goodness.
So we have to do all three. You got to get up, got to pray, got to coffee up, be ready to go on these early morning lives. It's good to be here. Welcome to the SFP morning show for those that's able to join us. We're doing these a couple times a week right now, and we're just getting into our lives. And Robert, tonight we're going live again. We've got the front porch talking. Yeah, well, we just talk about whatever. So, but good morning. Happy Friday, I guess we should say. Happy Friday. For those that have been working all week, you've made it. You just got to get through Friday. If you got to work the weekend, sorry, this might be your Monday. But anyway, we're glad to have you with us, and we'll have to have a discussion on what's the morning ritual as far as coffee or what gets them going in the morning. Some people it might be an energy drink, or what's and people at work they come in with 2 or 3 for a shift, they're ready to go. But Robert, across the South, it's the temperatures have been a little bit better. I mean, we're in the 80s and then down close to 70 or upper 60s or lower 70s. But there's a lot of rain across the South. And my understanding is you got caught in it yesterday.
Oh, yeah, we got caught in it bad. We went out to eat and a little place here in Colquitt. And really, had a good meal and everything. Was joking, cutting up some of the people in there. Saw some people from when I was a teacher of mine from when I was in high school. And I was sitting there raining. I was sitting there eating. It just started raining. I mean, it just started pouring. And there was a guy sitting in there. He said, "Oh, my dog's in the back of the truck." So he had to run outside and move his dog to the front of the truck, come back in just drenched. I mean, he wasn't out there in no time. I was like, my goodness, it is coming down. We sitting there watching it. And we're fixing to leave, and this elderly lady was like, "Oh, I got to get home." And she wouldn't wait for the rain to slow up or nothing. So I ran out to the car, got the umbrella, got her out there, and got her in her car, and got back up there and just soaked. It was fun. It's been cold all summer.
In a certain amount of rainfall coming down, it don't matter how fast you run.
No.
You're gonna get drenched. It's just, we call that buckets. It's raining buckets, and you just get soaked. And but yeah, there's a lot of rain over this 48 hours or so that's gonna occur. And I know we're just on the very edge of going into August, so that the blast is going to come back. We're not done with the high heat yet, but it being not quite as bad, it makes you think a little bit more of the cooler fall coming and football. And, I'm excited. Some of the NFL camps are opening up as we think about sports. And I've been getting reports in from some of the teams. There's already been a major injury for one of the teams. I think it was the Rams cornerback, torn heel. That's common for a player or two in the camps, and he's done for the year. And it was a starter. So, and then, we swing over towards Atlanta, Braves blew it again. They gave up a late home run, I think it was, and they blew it again. It's just frustrating. But exciting news in the world of baseball last night. You don't see this every day. It was a no-hitter. Dylan Cease had a no-hitter last night. They won 3-0.
Wow.
San Diego did. And so you just don't see that every day, a no-hitter. And I think that's the second one they've had this year. Not same player, but I think that's the second one they've had this year. And how much more rare is that to have 2 from the same team in the same year? That's pretty cool.
Yes. That's two guys you don't want to face. Oh,
Yeah.
I do have our weather for today.
All right.
The weather for today in Georgia on July 26, 2024. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. And this is a no hairstyle day for you women folk. Don't put on no big to-do hairstyle. Pull your hair back to ponytail and pray.
Yeah.
My hair will be perfect all day long. The only thing I will have to do is dodge the sweat drops.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, I was talking to a friend of mine. He's work friend and just a great guy, great family, and he's going to another plant. I hate to see him go. Great Georgia fan. We're Georgia fans, but I was telling him a little bit about the podcast, and he was, he was right down there. I mean, he lined up perfectly. He was supposed to be looking up. We gained a follower last night. I hope it was him. I hope he found us and follows some. But he's a busy guy, but I hope he can catch us some. But he was all right in there. I didn't have to say much, and he just took off talking about manners and holding doors open and how neighbors looked after neighbors. And he said where he lives at, he goes, neighbors still look after their neighbors, and he said we still will shoot you in my community. If you want to bring some trouble in there, everybody's ready. So, he understood. That's why America's. Nobody really wants to attempt to invade us because, they not only fight in the military, they're fighting every citizen that is ready to defend, and so they have to think about that. But he was telling me that his wife was from Jersey. I think it was. I think it was up there around Jersey or Maryland, something like that. So her family has moved south. So he said they go out to Myrtle Beach. They're out around the Myrtle Beach area or something. He said he was out running around with him, and nobody knows who I'm talking about. So names are protected. But he was telling me that the guy will say something like, "These people down here." He goes, "Hey, who are you calling these people down here?" And I took it that he was kind of putting down. He goes, "Well, I don't see a great exodus of these people going north to move into where you came out of, but I see y'all coming down here to move in down here." And he said, "Let me tell you about these people. These people are hardworking, good Southern people. They still got values and morals, and you need to watch your mouth." he got. I think as a brother-in-law or something. He's like, I don't know who you talking about. These people. You wanted to come down and live among them,
Yeah, that's right.
But he did say, and we do. We have a lot of people. That's one of our programs. What do we say? If you're moving to the area, these are things you need to consider. They're still important in the South, especially the deep South. And you can mock it however you want, but we is who we is.
Yeah.
So he was giving him the family education about being in the South. I don't know what the guy was complaining about, but he just said, come on, man. He said, you're now here. You live with. You're not. You. What do you mean these people? It's us. And you need to think about that. Don't be going around talking about people like that. But I could tell by his tone and everything that, he loves his wife. Obviously, he's got a great wife and they have a great family. But there's been moments of frustration. I could tell. It's like,
oh, yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, don't be talking about this is who I am. And that'd be like us moving up north and cracking on Yankee, as he called them, Yankees. He said that bunch of Yankees, Dave.
Well, I do want to make an observation there for you.
All right.
I have noticed since we started this show up, like 60 days, just over 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Your accents come around a little bit better. Mine is fired up. We is who we is. It's just kind of ringing out a little bit more. We're hanging on to that accent with pride. Even though you was born in Northern Illinois, don't think I'm ever going to forget that now.
My church doesn't either. So,
You wasn't
But
born here.
my family is all Southern,
Yeah.
and I just Dad moved up north for some work, and Mom was carried me along, and I was born up there in St. Anthony's Hospital in Rockford, Illinois. And I couldn't tell you the first thing about it. I've never been back. We were.
Is that
I
where they
was
filmed Rockford Files?
no, no, no. That's a good tie-in though, but no, no. I was about a year and a half old when we got back. I don't remember nothing about it. So I've talked to people from Illinois on the phone, pastors and stuff, and I'll mention, by the way, well, I talked to one pastor. He was born here, but he's pastors up there. Good guy. I think he's from down around Augusta. I was talking to him on the phone one day, and I was telling him, I was born up in Rockford. He was in one of the pastors was in Peoria, which is just a couple of hours from Rockford, and I was telling him, I was born up in Illinois. He goes, well, say something again. I said something. He goes, well, how long you been gone, brother? He said, because you don't sound like anybody from Illinois. In fact, you sound like, if I had to guess, Georgia. And I said, well, that's where I'm from. So I don't have that accent at all. I'm sure there's some kind of accent there, but I do because you are South Georgia and I'm North Georgia. Now I'm gonna pick at you a little bit. They say that I sound a little twangy because I'm sure that I pick up that Tennessee twang. I'm right here on the border. I'm just wondering if you pick up the Florida twang because you're pretty close.
Let me explain that Florida accent to you. That's the Yankee accent, except for the Panhandle.
That's what I mean. That Panhandle.
Panhandle down to about Jacksonville is just as South Georgia as South Georgia is.
That's what I was saying.
Beyond that, you get a Yankee twang. Oh.
Well, maybe not in Central Florida, the very extreme Central Florida. I know because I know people from there, and they as country is. I'm gonna tell you.
Look, I'm gonna give you Jacksonville. That's about it. All right, Jacksonville straight across Panhandle. I can't go much further south in Florida than that. I can't. And they are some good country people down there. I know I've been around them, but my goodness, that's where real rednecks come from. I just want you to know that.
Well,
everybody talks about where rednecks come from. I know rednecks exist all across this country, but they could tie their roots right back to the Panhandle of Florida. I love them. Them's my people.
You know what shocks people is and we talked about this here a while back with Jason on the farming episode, but as people shocked that if they travel south and they get into South Alabama and South Georgia and they see some of the crops are cotton. Well, you get that in North Florida too. You go across the state line, everybody's expecting to see just Florida stuff, and they're looking at cotton fields. They're like, hey, wait a minute, I thought it was in Florida. It blows their mind. They don't know how to take that,
That is hilarious, though, because right here where I live, I'm about 15 minutes from the Florida line. And I'm about 15 or so minutes from the Alabama line. I mean, I'm in extreme southwest Georgia here. And we got peanuts, we got cotton, we got corn, we got a few soybeans. I mean, you name it, we grow it down here, the traditional southern stuff. And they think just because you drive 15 minutes down the road, it's all beans and palm trees. It's not the case. You still got a lot of Florida there that's good for farming.
Let's see, what is that county? Santa Rosa County, ain't it? Is that around Tallahassee or is that more towards Pensacola? Santa Rosa County there in North Florida, I think. Seemed like I remember that from being down there and being in a few churches and running around in different places and seeing some sites there. I think that's the county there. It's one of them. But yeah, you get down there. What is one of those first little towns you cross into is, oh boy, my memory is going to fade on me here, but
no, dude, you're way off. It's around Pensacola.
That's what I thought, Pensacola. Yeah, because I remember being there. I didn't know how far it extended, but I remember being in Santa Rosa County. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tallahassee's Leon County.
Okay, Leon.
But you're going to the wrong spot anyway when you go down there. If you're going to, well, I can't say that. Pensacola's a pretty place too.
Hey, I liked Pensacola, and I'm not even really talking about the beach,
Okay.
Pensacola Beach or nothing. I mean, that's okay. I mean, I'm not really a beach person. I like to see the ocean and all that, but I'm not really a hang out on the beach kind of person. But what I did when I was in Pensacola, there's some war between the states. You go to the square in Pensacola. They've got a nice monument. I got out and took some pictures of that. It was a cold day. I was out there. There is also because I've done some Jewish ministry, and there's a very old synagogue in Pensacola, and I went down, and they have a museum. And I went down, me and my wife, and checked in. Of course, it's sad; you have to go through all this security, and at this time there was only I think one person there, but she buzzed us in, and we got to go up and see the sanctuary, the synagogue, and right off of that sanctuary, the reason we were in the sanctuary is the museum, and that museum is pretty neat because you're thinking Jewish, but what it does, it is Jewish, but it takes in a lot of the early history of Pensacola. So you see a lot of old pictures and things about that area going way back because it's been there for a long time. So that was kind of a cool thing that most people probably don't have on their tour stop, but
Yeah.
I'm a different kind of guy. So
Well,
hey, I go to an area. I'm a history buff, and I love ministry and stuff like that. So any old, my wife is not as into this part, but I'll go to old cemeteries and walk around. I'm that
oh,
guy. I love to find the oldest section of the oldest cemetery in the town, and I'd like to do a little study in there about. And you see stuff
mhm.
that you can tell about a community. I was down in a small town in Georgia, and I was walking through the old classic church cemeteries, pardon me, right next to it. And as you walk through, you could tell when disease swept through the community because you would have a lot of people that died at the same time and a lot of children. So the influenzas or whatever that had swept through. And it tells a story, the old cemeteries do. And then you find the old soldiers, and some of them are marked, and I like doing that kind of thing. So museums that show old things, go to the monuments
Yes.
and roadside markers. I love those things. I'll stop and take pictures of them and put together a slideshow when I get back of things that I read. It might have been about history of the area or troop movements during the war, or it could be a little bit of anything. And finding those museums, and like I said, I'll still go to the beach, or I'll visit some locally owned restaurants. I try to stay away from chains when I'm doing that.
Mm.
And just ride around and get a lay of the land. I'm a person when I go. I don't like to do the touristy thing. I'll do it, but it's not my thing. I like to immerse myself in the real town, not where the tourist traps are. I like to get off the beaten path and get into where the people who have lived there a long time, not the people that are driving miles to get a job to work in an area. I'm talking about the people that have lived there 40, 50, 60 years, and they got a little yard sale going on or garage sale. I'm a sucker for that anyway, and I'll stop, and while I'm looking around to see if there's anything I want to buy, I'll talk to the owner, and they'll give you all kinds of neat information, like maybe even shortcuts through bad areas and stuff. But I like to get out and meet the real people. And I don't mean the others are not real, but these people are the ones that you don't find in the touristy shop where they're selling the T-shirts and trinkets and stuff like that. They can be local, but they're not really the established old guard, I would say, of a city. And you can go in and you can just find those really good people that are kind of just like we are. We like to talk, and
Yeah,
we like to learn about things. I think that's cool.
I do too. When you was talking a while ago about getting off the beaten path, um, I like going to Panama City. I enjoy it. Panama
Yeah.
City, Florida. I enjoy it. And yeah, there's a whole strip there. They call it the Miracle Strip, and it's got just shops and chain stores and traffic and everything and condos. Oh my gosh. As you're driving down, you can't even see between the condos hardly to see out to the water. It is just,
Oh yeah.
locked. So I generally go out to St. Andrews. State Park. There aren't any condos there. And I was noticing last time I went out there, if I got out of the car and stood up on my tiptoes, I just could see the water. So you get out there in the natural part, you got sand dunes everywhere, and you still can't see the water.
I know.
Unless you pack down to the beach, and which is worth it. But my wife and I went to a different spot called Cape San Blas. And if you've never been there, look it up. It's great. It's great. It's just one little strip of land that separates the ocean from the bay and stuff like that. And it's really neat down there. And certain times of year, it's coming up here in October, sea turtles will come in and lay eggs. It's really neat. But we got out there, and instead of these high-rise condos, they built these little low-lying, we're kind of going downhill. It looks low-lying, these little cottages.
Yeah.
Cottages for however long. But it's just, it's so much for tourist. Everything down there is just geared for that. So I keep thinking back to the movie Jaws, that's what's the big thing. The 4th of July is going to be great, and the beaches will be open so we can have our businesses. And I'm like, ooh.
We were down there one time, and it was cold down at Pensacola Beach, and my wife, she wanted to see the ocean. I said, "It's cold. That water, it's going to be coming off that water. It's going to be even colder." She said, we just got out of church, and I was like, okay, so we just ran straight down the strip, got on down there, and we got to the beach part, and I said, I think I'm going to stay in the truck. Wasn't in my truck. I think I'm going to stay in the truck where the heater is. And she said, well, that's fine. I'm going to get out and walk around. Oh, she walked about 40 feet, was shivering, made a quick turnaround, came back to the truck and said, I've seen all I need to see.
Dude, take her down there in the fall or the spring. Don't take her down.
No, we did. We've been down there more than once, but that was just one of those times we weren't there for tourists or swimming or anything. We were there for ministry, and so we were kind of just an overnight trip in and out. But I think that was the day we were leaving. But
it's a wonder. It's a wonder you're still alive. That was mean, dude. You take her to the beach in the wintertime. It's a wonder she ain't put some knots on your head. No,
she still talks about it. She'll tell you that I told her don't get out. You're going to freeze. And she said, you were right.
You don't hear that often, I bet. Oh,
no. I mean, a brother's got all he can get, man. I mean, you got to be right sometime, Yeah.
Well, when Jenny and I first moved down here, it was in January, and it was still short sleeve weather here. And y'all were getting snow that year. And everybody was sending pictures to Jenny of the snow. And she was like, I'm not going to see snow no more. Not down here. Nope. I said, but here's what we can do. When we took off to the beach, and all we had on was just light jackets, done nothing major. It wasn't that bad. So they were sending pictures of the snow, and Jenny was sending pictures of the beach right back to them. It was great.
Now, my wife she just roots. It's almost like a cheerleader for snow. She's like a little kid getting excited. We may get snow tonight. And she just wants to see a good snowfall. And then she's kind of done with it. I mean, that's all she wants. She don't want to hang around for days and days, but she has never lost that excitement for seeing snow. She's a kid at heart, and I guess we all are in some ways, but she still likes to see the snow fall. She gets excited for that. Bummed out when it doesn't. They said it was going to snow. Well, from being up this way, it's hard to be a weather person in Chattanooga area.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's
I remember the light dusting that led to 3 feet.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I remember, I won't say his name. He's retired now. But one of the weathermen, he had that classic, like, shut down the business. All the schools need to shut down. We're going to get several feet of snow, and it didn't even do a dusting that next day. Oh, did he have egg on his face? They started being a little measured after that. That one,
Yeah.
I think every weather person has had been burnt before, but that was the worst one. But yeah, oh, we're going to get it dusted. Next thing you know, you come out and you're shoveling your car out. I mean, it's a
Three.
hard area. It really is. It's a hard area to figure on weather. And
And the people, they have never, ever forgotten that.
no,
I worked in a grocery store cutting meat, okay? And every store I worked at, every group time that they hollered a dusting of snow or we might get a snowflake to fall from the sky or anything like that, they immediately go straight to the grocery store, buy up all the hamburger, all the bread, all the milk.
yeah,
You go home. That's three items that are just wiped out. There's none to be had. And, okay, so if the lights go out, I guess they figure they can throw the hamburger and the milk out in the snow. We might lose power. We need to buy meat and milk. So we can't keep it refrigerated. The bread cheap.
yeah. It's funny. I mean, they say anything about sleet, freezing rain, whatever. You're guaranteed to see the stores fill up
Yeah.
and the bread
And the
aisle.
store managers love it because their
Oh
sales
yeah,
go through the roof.
oh
I
yeah.
think they perpetuate this.
Because they're not just going to buy those three items; they're going to buy them and buy them out, but then they're going to pick up other things along the way. And that's really an added shop day. That's not they're still going to go back and shop. So
Yeah.
that's an add-in. So sales do go up, and of course it makes it rough for supply chain because you're out of certain items for a few days, and when you get them in, they're just devouring it as it comes out. What was the thing
Mhm.
during COVID? Ran out of toilet paper, and people were calling around. Can you imagine? I mean, they were following the trucks. They were following from when they filled up to where they were going, trying to lock in on where they could go buy toilet paper.
What was it about COVID? Did it make you go more or something? I don't understand why we had a supply chain issue on toilet paper. You didn't go to the bathroom more. You were just sick. You know, you didn't go more. But oh
Well,
no, we're going to be at the
well,
house. We might
well,
put
not
more.
even sick. I think it's just people thought they were never going to come out again. Like we're going to have to quarantine in our homes forever. So what do we need that we just can't run out of? So they started getting those essential items like
They went
that.
out. They went out and bought all the toilet paper in the world. Okay, they did not think about that they're going to be locked up in the house with their spouse for days. There should have been, and I'm not criticizing husbands or wives, but spending that much time together, there should have been a shortage of earplugs. There should. I'm just saying, that's where your shortage should have been, not toilet paper.
I,
Earplugs.
I, I was listening to the great Jonathan Winters. He was on Johnny Carson, many, many times. And there was one time he was on there and he was talking about he liked to paint scenes and stuff. Of course, you never knew with a comedian like Jonathan Winters. I mean, who knows what was truth and what was not, but it was still funny. But if he was off the road a little bit, wasn't doing a movie or TV show, and he was doing his painting, his wife would be like, after a week or two, ain't you got something you need to be doing? I mean, it was getting on her nerves. I'm sure there's some truth in that. He's around the house all the time. She wasn't used to that. She's used to him hitting the road and going and making money and then coming back. But he was in for an extended time. He's like,
You need
just
to do something. And I'm an extrovert. I talk to everybody. I don't meet a stranger. I joke, cut up, carry on with every person I meet because I enjoy it.
yeah.
My wife is not that person. My wife is a different person, and she doesn't. She'll sit back and watch and laugh, and she'll tell me when I've met my match, and she'll make some comments along, but she's not that person. And so, can you imagine being locked up with me for weeks on end? And you're not this person, you're that person. Oh, it's got to be hard on her. After about 2 or 3 days, she's lost all of her color. You know, um, She's walking around with her head down. Like, will you just stop talking? And I can understand that, you know.
Oh yeah.
We went
Yeah.
back to the restaurant we went to. The lady sitting behind us was doing snap beans. And why they came to the restaurant to do their snap beans, I don't know. Maybe they're
They're doing them at the restaurant.
at the restaurant.
I've never heard of that before.
I've never heard of that either. But they were the little lady that's going around. She said, "You want some more sweet tea?" And I said, "You sure are nosy." And she you asked me all these questions, nosy. So she gets my cup. She walks. He called me nosy. Who called you nosy? And this lady's sitting right behind us. So she just jumped right in on me. Don't call her nosy. We like her. She's our sister. She's one of our people. And it's like, yes, ma'am. And I said something else. She said, "You're just nosy. You're nosy." So she started calling me nosy. And yeah, it was, just joke cut up and strangers. And she kept going, kept firing back every time I opened my mouth. She said, "I'm going to have to call her back over here. You're back there talking to us still. We don't know you." Just in a joking way, just, carrying on. And my wife looked at me. "You've met your match in this one."
Well, somebody that's bringing beans in to snap them in the restaurant, what you should have done was just turned around there and started helping her. That'd blow her mind.
Well, she said, maybe we can get nosy behind us to help us finish these beans up. And I said, "I don't know if I've got time to do that before it gets dark or not. I got to eat." And she said she was leaving, wanted to be home before dark, And she got up and she asked the owner there, she said, "Do you have a broom so I can clean up my mess right here? I don't want everybody to think I'm a messy eater." I was accusing the girl on the other side of the table of throwing all her stuff mess over there, make it look like she left the mess. They cleaned up after themselves and everything. I don't know if they knew the owners or what, but doing snap beans right there.
Now that's
in the restaurant.
I wish you'd have got a picture of that. That would have been cool.
No. Can you imagine why are you taking our picture?
Not of her, of the beans, just of her hands maybe in the beans, So you just say, "Those are some great looking snap beans. Could I take a picture of them?" Come on, Robert. That'd have been legend for us. We, as we talk to people, business owners, we could say, "Have you ever had somebody come in and do snap beans in your restaurant?"
I don't look. She was kind of scary. She was intimidating me. Elderly women are my kryptonite. I could joke cut up with them, but they ever start getting the least bit upset, I can't have that.
Well, when you come in like a boss, bringing your snap beans into the restaurant, I mean, I don't know that I want to mess with her either.
With Georgia, there ain't no telling what you're gonna find around here.
And the owner, if they didn't know him, was probably thinking, "I don't know, just let them do it." I mean, I don't need an incident here, and this getting on the news and saying snap bean lady gets thrown out of a restaurant. I mean, or she could have said, "Well, they asked me to take my snap beans back outside. They're not snap bean friendly here at this restaurant." I mean, you kind of
there's nothing you can do.
You just kind of like, well, that's interesting. and hey, she did clean up.
Yeah, she did. I remember growing up, you go into a store and see a wash tub full of fish, ice down, that they hadn't got around to cleaning up. I used to see that all the time. I always never figured, were they showing off their fish? Why didn't they just go ahead and go clean them?
I know. I never got that either. Just deal with it. There's something about that. I've heard of that before, I don't know. just clean your fish and put them up. And
well, it might be you want to show the fish off, and it's hard to show them off once they're cleaned.
Well, we was talking, I think it was yesterday or whenever we were on live, and Wednesday night maybe. We were talking about, I don't know if it was on air or off air, but when you ran your fish store.
Yeah.
And you never knew what was going to come through the door. Not snakes, lizards. I mean, there was a little bit of everything come through the door. You just had to be ready for a little bit of everything. It wasn't just a fish store. It was all kinds of little critters brought in. But, But you can go to Walmart now and see the same thing. They officially, I think, still say only service animals, but they don't
Yeah.
enforce it. I've seen people come in with monkeys, snakes. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I hadn't seen spiders. I
Yeah.
don't think you'd want the spider to come in the door.
No, that was one critter we did not have come through the door. Well, I take that back. We had one
Didn't
come
you
through.
order a tarantula or something for somebody? And
Yes, you were there. That was the one.
yeah,
The guy begged me to order. I said, I ain't ordering no spider. I don't want it at the store. I don't like spiders, y'all. I can handle snakes. I can handle lizards. I can handle fish. All that's fine. I don't want no spider. I don't want no part of it. I don't care if it's a little spider, a big spider. I don't want no part of no spider. No, period. And this guy begged me and begged me and begged me. And finally, I was like, fine, I'll order it. And it was a rose hair tarantula, is what he wanted. I said, it'll be sitting outside the door when you get here. I said, you just come in here, give me the money, get it, and go. Get it as far away from me as you can. I'm never coming to your house. And so I got thinking about this poor spider, and it was in North Georgia, so it wasn't quite as hot and humid, but it was in a paper sack out by the front door. And finally, I went out there and I got it gingerly with 2 fingers because I didn't want it to suffer or nothing like that. And I brought it in and I set it on the counter, on the far end of the counter. And that's where it sat. And I didn't know how it was packaged up. It was in one of them little cups or whatever inside the bag. I found out later. I didn't know how it was packaged up. I didn't know if they hit it with a hammer and throwed it in the bag or what. I didn't know. And he came in, he said, oh, yeah, there's my spider. He opened that bag. I said, close that bag up. And I reached over and had a little piece. I said, I'll beat you to death. Don't you get that thing out in the store.
I think I remember that. I think I was there because I remember you calling the guy like, hey, man, your spider's here. Come and get him now. I need him gone now. You're coming now.
I'm at work. I don't care. Come get this spider. Well, I can't come till I'm at work. No, you can come now. You told me to order it. I ordered it. I told you was getting it when it got here. Oh, I'll be off work in a while. I know.
I wouldn't want that thing around. Oh. Yeah.
We didn't have to go there with spiders this morning. Why did we?
I know. That's bad, Dave. Bad. On the morning show, talking about spiders. You'll be. I hope you don't have to mow later. You'll be thinking there's spiders dropping down on you or something.
Oh my gosh! No, it's raining today. It's already been raining. Not getting out there. It's too humid. Because if it ever stops raining here, the sun's coming out, and
it'll bake.
Oh gosh, it's like a sauna.
Are the gnats bad even while it's raining? Do they kind of run for cover too?
They run for cover.
Okay,
which is a good thing. Well, you ain't got gnats in your eye, just water.
that would be a good thing. I just wondered about that, So you get a little bit of a break there while it's raining, Of course, you got to deal with the rain, but
yeah, but sometimes it's just easier to deal with the rain if the gnats are bad enough.
When they go away? The first cold snap.
Yeah. We still need to go to the gnat line.
Oh yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to go to the gnat line. We're going to shake hands across the gnat line.
We need to do that. We might even drag Chris with us.
Oh yeah, he's coming. We'll get him down there, and we'll step over the gnat line, back over the gnat line, and shake hands across.
If we can get him to run some laps around the cars first, when we get down there, if we get him to run some laps around the cars, get good and sweaty, and gnats will be drawn to him, and we might survive this thing. We look over at Chris, and he looks all fogged up because of the gnats. That'll be great. Oh, I got this morning, but I'll have to tell you sometime about me and Chris going fishing. It was great, and not this morning. Yeah, we've already talked about spiders, and this ain't got no spiders in it. But remind me on the next show to tell you about me and Chris going fishing.
I will.
He did
Now,
catch.
has he ever lived down there in that area? Or has he always been up here?
Yeah, yeah. He lived down here for a year or so. Then they moved back up that way because there was just too many gnats. I can't imagine why. Uh, every time they go outside, you'd see them trying to blow them gnats out of their face and spit them out of their mouth. They'll go up your nose and your ears. Y'all that aren't from down here in below the gnat line do not understand or know the amount of suffering that people go through with gnats.
Uh,
Ran through.
now, when you get over towards the coast, you get the sand fleas, I think they're called, or something like that.
Sand gnats, the ones that bite. That's
yeah,
more.
yeah.
They're just annoying and they bite.
They'll tear your legs up. I've seen some people all just bit up. Yeah, you gotta be careful with that. Yeah. It's not for the weak-hearted when you get in some of those areas. It may seem like I guess if you come during the winter, it does seem like paradise in some of those areas. But you get there in the summer, and it can be rough.
You get down here in the wintertime, you come down here in January, so even up into February, and it's not that cold. You may have a couple of cool days that you might want to wear a jacket, but most of the time you're walking around in shirt sleeves and shorts, and it's perfectly fine. You don't get those little long stretches of cold weather. And we pray for those long stretches of cold weather because they kind of beat the gnats back in the summertime.
Yeah.
But you come down here in the, because we've got we do have 4 seasons here. We do 4 seasons: December, January, February, and summer. That's our 4 seasons. And you come in December, January, February, it's paradise, dude. It is absolutely beautiful, and big old oaks with the Spanish moss hanging up in them. You can go to places like Tallahassee, and they have what's it called? Jasmine. That is a big thing in Tallahassee, and we've got some here in the yard. And when this jasmine comes out and it starts blooming, and the scent of jasmine, oh man! And down in Tallahassee, some of these places just have hedges of it. And you're driving down the road with the windows up, and you can still smell the jasmine. And it is just absolutely, you got to roll the windows down, crack the windows, and
oh yeah,
oh dude, it's wonderful. And then the gnats come out.
Have you ever gotten down, because you're pretty close, within an hour, I think you said, or maybe it's a little more, but get down, see the Blue Angels? You ever got to go down there and do that?
I've seen the Blue Angels once in my life. And let me tell you where I saw them: at the Great Lakes.
Okay. Well, they do tour.
Yeah, that was the one place I saw them, and they're right here close by, but that's the one time I've seen them. So
I would like to go see them. Timing wasn't right for us to do it when we were down there before, but I'd like to go see them.
Though as you're driving around down that area, there is, the big base down there, and they have as you drive past the base, they've got the old submarines and diving bells and stuff like that sitting out there where you can see them, and that's pretty neat stuff too. And you do see a lot of jets down there. Of course, you see a lot around here too. They don't just stay right over Panama City; they get out.
Oh yeah,
and we see quite a bit of fighters here, fighter jets and big jets, and
we see a few of those, but mainly what we see around here is like C-130s and stuff, and they do some training with them here, touch and goes and different things. Some of the bigger aircraft, practice and landing, helicopters too. They do a lot of work with helicopters and stuff, and coming in formation, and so you do see some jets, but not many. I have a friend, and he had some connections to military, but although he was never in the military, but he noticed that every day there was a plane that they were right. Their house was right in their flight path. Like they would sort of get to their house and then make a turn and go the other way, make an angle. Somehow he runs into this guy that's part of that crew, And he was telling him, he said, yeah, man, he said, we see you every day or every other, whenever they have, I think it's every day. It's training hours is what they're doing.
Yeah.
But he said, he's talking about how his boy just loved to see it. He said, what's your GPS, man? So he gives him the GPS. He said, be ready tomorrow. He said, what? He said, just be ready. He said, they come in lower than they normally do. And when they
Oh,
made
wow.
that turn, they throwed the throttle. He said it shook every house in the area. He said they were out there in lawn chairs looking up when they came in. He said the blast, the way it come back at him, he said it was the most incredible thing. His boy was doing backflips. He was so excited to see this happen, man.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, he people didn't know what was going on. They were like, "Why was that plane flying so low?" And they rattled my windows and they rattled everything on my shelves. But they put on a little show for them, bud.
Dude, they call them touch and goes. They have to do so many takeoffs and landings to keep the certification up.
Yeah.
When I was stationed up on Adak, Alaska, it's Naval Air Station, and there were C-130s and there were P-13s. And P-13 was a bigger plane as well, and it was used for tracking subs and stuff. And they would do touch and goes a lot. There wasn't much up on ADAC. There were barracks and the airfield and the airstrip, stuff like that. But they always seem to manage when they're doing touch and goes to go over the barracks every time. And that blast that you're talking about, they didn't mind doing that. If we got to be up doing this, everybody's got to be up, right over the top of the, oh my God. There were times that Marines, I think, were actually, because the Marine Corps barracks were right beside ours, that they were thinking about, highly considering declaring war.
On a serious note, and I didn't get to read the whole story, but there was a news article that popped yesterday that up around Alaska, American fighter jets, 2 F-35s, and there might have been some F-16s involved, had to escort Russian and Chinese planes away. I know they're just probing, but that's something that don't make you feel good, that they're doing this in conjunction together. That's very concerning, and they didn't do a lot of news on it. I'd like, I know these kind of encounters happen ever so often, but that's big news, man. That's our front door to the north, and that's serious business right there. I was shocked when I saw that.
I'm going to say this on that. I'm not so shocked. Consider the timing of it. All right. You've got our president who's just stepped down. He's not running for re-election. We've got the vice president now that's going through all her struggles and getting built up for the vice president to run for president. You got President Trump sitting on the outside, or former President Trump, sitting on the outside. Everything's kind of in upheaval.
There's no doubt about it.
So this is the time for them to do that. Who's going to actually call the shot?
Yeah.
And they would have come right on over in if we hadn't escorted them back out.
That's what they're doing. They're testing to see your response time, to see how much you'll send. I mean, that's all information, intel. Of course, they had those balloons that came over, the Chinese did, and that got all the way across the eastern seaboard. I mean, before we took it out, and they did another one. So there's a lot of probing going on right now of NORAD and our defense systems and all that stuff. It's not a good feeling, man. It's not a good feeling. We elect people to take care of us, to defend us. And I know you got to be measured in your response. I'm not saying that should have went up and shot them down, but we need to be diplomatically, we need to be getting on them pretty hard in other nations as well and saying enough's enough. Don't be doing that. Because if you do that enough, it only takes one wrong move by somebody and you've got an international incident and you've got a dogfight going on up there. And that's the kind of thing that can escalate into war. So, people think that's no big deal. It's a big deal.
It is.
You get one person I mean, what if they'd taken shots at us? Where would we be right now if we had to take out a Chinese or a Russian fighter jet or some sort of aircraft, a signal jammer, whatever they were coming over with? You know, I'm a little bit older, Rob, and I'll say this. I know we're going to get off here in a minute, but I'll say this. I don't forget. I believe in forgiving, but you don't forget. And one of the things I don't forget, and I never will, being from the state of Georgia, is how the Russians took out the plane with what was his name, the senator that had been critical. Larry, I can't think. I know it. I can't.
Yeah.
It's early, but let us not forget how they did that. They didn't escort out; they took out, and there's a lot about that people have always wondered about. They believe it was on purpose. They don't believe the story that was given by the Russians, and we don't forget. We'll forgive and move on, but we don't forget. And these are high stakes encounters, you know.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about just fighter jets. We're talking about subs that could be off the coast. There's been rumors about that the Russians have been right off the eastern seaboard down around I guess Florida or somewhere in there. Anyway, it's concerning. You know, I know these cat and mouse things go on all the time between all these big superpowers, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful. We're doing the same thing. We're probing, but when you start, there's a difference when you're probing the outside, you're approaching. When you go over someone's airspace, that's a big deal. That's now beyond probing. That's a violation.
Yes.
And I didn't see enough in the story to know exactly how far, what happened there. I'm going to go back and read that. If you know, I'd like to know. Did they actually come into the airspace or just a count?
I don't think they made it into. I think they made it within several miles of it, but I don't think that they made it into.
Yeah.
So now don't quote me on that because I saw the story and I looked at it, but I have slept since then.
Yeah, I know. So. Me too. I want to look at it a little more today, but anyway, pray for our nation, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, we thank you for joining, whenever you see this, our new morning show. And Rob, I enjoyed it. And we got in to talk about a lot of stuff. We get a little bit of news in there. I've got work today, and you're going to be at home inside since it's going to rain all day. And
horrible day today. I think I'll prop my feet up.
Sleeping weather and reading weather, and well, you can play with the cats. You can play with the cats. You know,
I can definitely do that. They've been running around here like a herd of buffalo this morning.
Well, they're not used to you being on this early. They're you've thrown their routine all off, man. They're trying to figure this thing out. Like, what's he doing? This is supposed to be a nighttime thing or late afternoon.
Chuck's coming in here. That's my one-eyed cat. He's coming in here keeping an eye on everything.
One eye.
Keep giving me the hairy eyeball. You know.
Well, hey, have a great day, Robert. We'll see you tonight for Front Porch Talking Live if I can get it out.
Absolutely.
And we have a guest or two. We'd love to have somebody come up. Maybe Chris can join us, and we'll see. Yeah. By the way, keep cooking your thoughts and prayers. He wasn't able to join me for sports. He did send me some information, but they were having a ceremony for his cousin. I think it was this. So he did leave me a message. They're still grieving, you know, and hey, that grieving takes as long as grieving takes. So, and they've had some health issues as well. So keep Cook and his mama, Mary, in your prayers. He'd appreciate that. He was encouraging us last night. We were on, or not before. He actually, when we were live, he actually sent us a couple of messages and told us he loved us and was encouraging us. But when you listen to this, Cook, we love you too, man.
Yes, we do. You gotta hurry. You do what you got to do, and when you get feeling better, you jump your honey right on here with us.
That's right. We're calling out Nealon, though. You know, you're a legend if your name is, you just go by Nealon. That's a legend when you can just say that. So I know he works a lot, but we got to get the Nealon on here. Nealon's got to make.
He might come on here and make some comments, but I don't think I talked to him the other day. I don't think he'd go come on the show.
He's camera shy. The legend. I'm calling you out, man. I'm calling you out.
Oh,
come on.
Oh no! Now look. If we call Nealon out, we gonna call Cook out for sure because I know Cook's got some dirt on you. And if you're going after Nealon to get dirt on me, I'm going after dirt on you. I don't think
No,
we need to go there.
I wasn't doing that. I just wanted him on to come on with
Oh,
us. We've got faces made for radio, so I know there's no problem
okay.
Nealon to come on. So it's not like, we're making you look bad because of how good we look. So,
Well, I'm not making you look cool, man.
well, maybe without your hat on,
Y'all carry that look with you all day today.
Hey, have
Uh,
a great day, everybody. Robert, it's good talking with you. We'll see you tonight on the front porch.
Yes, sir. We're going to Front Porch Talking Live. Hey, if y'all like what we're doing, like and follow.
Yes, sir.
Have a great day, guys.
Amen.